Well, we don't call it Hurricane Hobbies for nothing. Welcome to Floridia. Hey guys, Max here. So I'm at Hurricane Hobbies and I dropped my wife off to get her nails done. This is across the street, so that's convenient. And when I walked in, Ian said, "I got something for you." He got some paints in finally, and he saved these for me. So I've got some F1 black and some F2 white. So I have some of the actual Tamiya flats. But he also got something else. Remember I talked about doing a comparison Jenny build? He watches the show. So when he was ordering, he goes, "Well, I'll get one of those," and he kept behind the counter as soon as I walked in. So now I'll be able to do that Jenny comparison build. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Well, hello Glue Troopers, and welcome back to Max's Models. And I want to thank Ian over at Hurricane Hobbies. We had for just keeping that stuff for me. He had it under the counter for a while, waiting for me to come back to paint. And the Jennies had just showed up, but like I said, he did get them because he saw me talking about on the show, and he saved one for me. And, you know, I guess it's really great to be a regular and a YouTube star. So anyway, one of the things I really appreciate about Hurricane Hobbies and the way Ian runs a place is he keeps a good selection of everything. He's got all the RC stuff and rockets and all that good stuff. But where the kit models are concerned, he keeps a really good selection. He's got some of the Mobius spacecraft, and there were some kits there that I almost grabbed all of them. I saw that little Robbie robot, and I just had to have it. And I started to work on it here at the desk, but I realized it had a lot of clear parts that were small and could easily be lost. So I decided, you know what, I think I'm just going to save that, take it out of the Tarbis, and work on it in the correct facility, because I don't want to risk losing any pieces, parts. And if I do, it'll be a lot easier to find on that hardwood floor than it will be in this carpet. But back to Hurricane and their selection, they have, of course, everything. They have monsters and kaiju. They have all kinds of cars. They have big expensive kits and not terribly expensive kits. They got the spaceships. They've got the World War II stuff, the jets. And I just really appreciate that they keep a good selection. There's something for just about everybody who builds models, ships, planes, tanks, you name it. In fact, the armor is very well represented. That's one of his top selling things. But he got the amoeba. And we were joking about it. He was curious about it, so he got one. He said he might keep it for himself. And I was thinking, well, I know it's a STEM kit, but, you know, yeah, science and technology, an educational kit. But as far as I'm concerned, what you really need to do is build it, then heat shrink it over some 135 scale armor and make it Attack of the Amoeba, the giant amoeba, killer amoeba. Oh my gosh, he's eating that tank crew like Paramecia. Ah! That's how my mind works. Deal with it. So he also got some paints in, as I talked about, and he's trying to do everything he can about keeping paint in stock. Apparently the Tamiya spray lacquers aren't too much of a problem to keep in stock, but it's the small acrylic paints that are run, especially the flat blacks and the flat whites. So I grabbed a couple of each. He'd saved some for me, and I really appreciate that. While I was there, I decided to, well, I couldn't help myself. I started restocking rearranging the airplanes, because I'm sorry, you had jet, prop, jet. It's jet, prop, prop, prop. Everything in its place, and a place for everything. So he gave me a nod and let me go ahead and kind of set the shelf up. But unfortunately, some of the boxes were a little too big to fit on the top shelf. So I had to, you know, sort of break my desire to have everything lined up by date of manufacture and aircraft type, and had to put a few things out of place. But I had itchy brain, you know, because the planes were out of place, and now they're back in place, because that's how I roll. So when I got home and let Honey give the Jenny the sniff test, I decided to take everything out to the Tarbis. But I was like, you know what? I promised you guys a comparison, so I figure I'll just go ahead and do a quickie one now, because I will do the comparison build later. So the Atlantis JN4 Jenny and the Glencoe JN4 Jenny are neck and neck competitors for each other. I opened them up. Both of them have nice box art, although Glencoe has that brand new box art, which is beautiful. But also, they both have excellent decal sheets. Now, Glencoe gives you a bunch of options on the decal sheets, and they also have, both the kits have beautiful full color guides for painting and decaling, which is really nice. I mean, these guys have both really upped their game. And they each have a few relative little pros and cons, so I thought I would talk about those just real quickly. Atlantis's two big advantages that I see are, one, they come with some clear parts for the little windshields, and they're just in the bag, so be careful. It'll be really easy to lose. And also, they have the one-piece sort of U-shaped struts that go into slots on the wings, so it should be a little bit easier to put the wings together. Whereas the Glencoe kit, which is based on the somewhat older Aurora kit, still has individual holes for each strut. And I didn't have any clear parts in mine. I mean, a lot of the Jennies did not have windshields on them. I mean, a lot of them didn't. That was kind of a luxury item, I think. So also, it's based on a roughly 1955 mold, I think. So they probably just didn't have the clear parts back then. That's sort of endemic to the older kit. But not a problem. You could easily, I mean, it's just a little curved piece. You could easily cut one out of some clear plastic stock if you want one. Personally, I plan to build one with windshield and one without. And I would also like to rig them both, but let me just get them built first. Both of the kits look to be well made. There was one little piece of flash on the Atlantis kit. I really didn't see anything to speak of on the Glencoe kit. Glencoe did sort of have the advantage that their kit was more or less molded in color. It had some black components like the prop and the wheels, and then everything else is sort of a khaki color that, you know, if you were just a kid going to build the airplane and then put the decals on it, it wouldn't look bad on your shelf. The Atlantis kit is in this green, and I'm sure there were plenty of green Jennies, but it really needs to be painted. It was all one color. Both of them have 3 pilot figures or crew figures, 2 pilots and a ground crew. The Atlantis kit, both pilots seem to be the same mold, whereas the Glencoe kit, the pilots are actually in 2 different positions, which is kind of a nice touch. But pretty much the kits seem to be neck and neck competitors. They're at the same price point, and I look forward to building them and doing a report on them. So we will get to that when we get to that. Lots of things, irons in the fire right now. I also want to get the Robbie robot built because he is perfect in that small size to go up on my sci-fi shelf without eating up too much room. I've built the big one before for Moebius, but that was for my wife to sell with one of her dolls. And this one is just a nice little something that will keep up there on the shelf. It'll scale out nicely. I mean, not be too big where it dominates the shelf. Anyway, that's what we got for tonight, guys. I hope everybody's doing well. Take care of yourselves, and as always, model on. Dadgummit, this is just adorable. I gotta have one. I gotta have one.